Welcome back, YouTube. Tyler T. Nail. It's been a while since we've had this banner. Shout out to the old videos that I used to do. There's a reason why I wanted to do the recording in this room versus outside or where I usually do it, because I don't know, having a background feels a bit more fitting. I do apologize, it does sound a little echoey in here, but hopefully with some music and all that, it'll sound not as echoey. But anyways, today I actually wanted to talk about a topic, finally. I feel like I put this off for so long. I think it was like my third or fourth video I made where I talked about teaching in Korea. Oh man, that was so long ago. So I wanted to do a update / continuation of what I explained about last time in that video. If you guys want to watch it, it's very old. I feel really kind of embarrassed now, actually. But anyways, I feel like this is something that does need to be talked about, but not because of what I talked about then, but because of what's happening now. So just a quick recap for those of you who are new to the channel or don't feel like going through all those videos. Some basic things I explained in that video of teaching in Korea are like what your job is. You're kind of an entertainer. You're not there to really teach English so much, but just kind of have fun and make the kids enjoy English. You're also going to be working very long hours with only about 10 days of vacation time. So you're not really there to really have too much leisure time, but mostly just work, you know. But the reason I'm making this video today is because I want to explain the state of teaching English in Korea, and now have been here 5 years, going on 6 years almost, and teaching for about most of that time. I feel like people have to know. And a part of this kind of has to deal with the one biggest regret that I have in my time of teaching English, or in my time of being in Korea in general. It's something that I wish I'd done earlier, something that I wish I knew about earlier, and something that I want to explain to you guys, and something I want to share with you guys that I think is extremely important if you guys are coming to Korea for the first time. And that is, I wish I had changed my visa type earlier. I wish I hadn't stayed so long on the E2 visa. I wish that I had gotten everything I needed to do as soon as I started coming here. I'll explain my reasons why, and I'll explain also, again, going along with what's happening in teaching English in Korea and all of that. So first things first, why do I feel like changing to my visa would have been better? Well, there are 3 visas that you can change to that are more like semi-permanent visas, not work-related visas. E2 is a specifically teaching English visa, and I'll go through the complications and problems with that. But the 3 types you can choose: F2, F6, F7. F2 is probably the most likely choice out of all of them that you choose. F6 is, you know, find love, get married, and you're on an F6. And F7 is a bit more complicated because usually it goes through studying. So you have to be on a D2, D4 visa through studying, and then finish college, and then get to an F7 visa, which is any job that is part of your major. But why F2? Or why change at all? Why not stay on the E2 forever? You're essentially a corporate slave. That's really the best way to put it. With an E2 visa, there's always a worry. There's always concern that whatever place, usually an academy that you're working for, which I mentioned before, if you're coming into Korea, unless you have a teaching English degree or a master's degree, you're going to be working for an academy. It's very hard to get a university job, and almost feels like even harder to just get a regular public school job. So you're going to be working at an academy, and there is always concern, always a worry that the place you're working for is actually going to be good, or the academy boss is actually going to be decent. There's always that concern because of an E2 visa. Now, I wish I could go in such detail and in depth and all of that, but the video is going to be way too long. So I want to try to cut this. I know I said that for the old video and it took like 2 years to get back to this. So I will continue this next week if you guys want more details about this. But the number one issue with an E2 visa, as I said, is that you don't have a lot of freedom. E2 is the teaching English visa. You cannot do anything else. And when you're picking an academy job, it's terrifying. It really, truly is. Even for me, if I choose to go to another academy after 1 year, it's equally as terrifying, because you never know if the academy that you leave is actually truly the best one they've ever worked for. There's always a concern that if you try to look for another academy, they could be just a million times worse than the academy that you're working for. So a E2 visa really is a not great visa. And it goes more than that. Another concern is that aside from being held hostage at your job, the pay doesn't make it worth it anymore. And this kind of goes into the state of teaching now. Having taught in Korea for a long time, I advocate severely for those of you who are coming to Korea for the first time. As a stepping stone, teaching English is great, but change that F2 visa as soon as possible. I cannot, I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, kick myself in the butt and be like, hey, you gotta work on this. Requirements for changing F2 are actually very simple, but at the very minimum, you're gonna be here for 3 years. So you gotta try and find an academy job that you can work at for 3 years, or switch academy after a year, but you gotta put in the 3 years. But on top of that, you have to study the language. And the best way to do this is through KIP. They're a government-sponsored program, KIP classes. You can also go the TOEIC route as well. I don't recommend that one personally. Just go with KIP classes, they're free. Put in the work, study hard, learn the language, and make the money from the academy as well, and put in the 3 years. When you put in 3 years, you're almost guaranteed, if you pass the KIP level progression, if you get up to level 5, which you should be able to in 3 years if you're putting in the work, you'll be able to change the F2 visa, no problem. The hardest part is the time, which is 3 years. And they'll fly by if you find a decent academy. And going back to pay, that is also one of the big reasons in the state of teaching. I feel like academies are not paying enough, especially with inflation getting as bad as it is. I know some people are like, oh, inflation. Oh, it's not that big of a deal, inflation. No, it truly is. It really is. I wish people would realize that. It's getting harder. It's getting a lot harder to work on that teaching English visa. And it's really depressing that when I look at Dave's ESL Cafe, for example, I like looking at the different jobs that there are every now and then, just to keep an eye out, basically. It's really depressing that there are still academies out there that are offering 2.1. Let me tell you right now, if you are coming to Korea to teach English, do not settle for 2.1. You are not going to be making a livable wage at 2.1. Okay, it is honestly disgusting that there are academies that offer 2.1. I mean, I've seen at 2.3, and 2.3 now is actually barely livable. Back then, 2.3 might have been fine, and 2.3 is barely livable. The standard should be at like 2.6, 2.7. Honestly, it should be even higher, like 3 million. And there are some places in Gangnam that offer that. But it's really a crying shame that they're not offering more for English teachers. And as great as it is as a stepping stone, I don't recommend actually teaching English for as long as I have, or for as long as other people have. I don't know how some people have done it for 10 years. But you got to keep in mind, people who have done teaching English job as 10 years, they started in 2010, 2011, around that time, or 2014, and things were different then, maybe. I don't know, maybe it was better, maybe it was worse, so maybe it was fine and they could do it for so long, but things have completely changed. I feel like academy owners have really gone off the deep end because one of two reasons, or one of many reasons, actually, I should say. There are so many academies in this country. I think there are more academies on this peninsula than there are restaurants, hospitals, obviously cafes. Like, there are thousands of cafes in Korea, and I think there are still more academies than there are cafes. In one area, in my work area alone, I think there are 10 right next to each other, all fighting and competing to get as many kids as they can in their academy. And I think because of this, the academy owners don't think or care too much about the people that are working for them and care more about how many kids they can get, how many parents they can get. I'm not entirely sure how much an academy owner makes each month or how much parents have to pay each month, but I do know this. Parents pay for an exact amount of days for their kids to be there and learn English from yours truly and other Korean teachers. They pay for a certain amount of days and they expect those certain amount of days their kids to be there. But it is very contradicting. I don't know why the system is the way it is. I don't know why they don't just pay for a month, or they don't pay monthly or something like that. They pay for a certain amount of days, because there will be moments where their parents take them out of the academy to go on a vacation somewhere, but then complain that their student doesn't, or their kid doesn't have enough time to study English because of holidays. It's a very weird system. And again, although I may not know how much an academy makes, I feel as though they could spare a bit more to pay the teachers that are working there. And I heard that even Korean teachers get paid less. So it is not a very great job these days. And whether you're watching this channel for the first time, or whether you've been a long-time viewer, or whether you're someone who's going to be coming to Korea, I don't want to make this video to dissuade people, really, but I want to make awareness. That's all I want to do with this video. I want people to be aware of what's happening and make really good choices. Because, again, there are so many stories that I've heard where someone comes into the country, they want to enjoy their time in Korea, maybe for like just a year, and they want to make money and live here. So they get in a teaching job, and the first job they get, the job is miserable. They're miserable. They end up hating their time. Maybe they end up breaking their contract and leaving, and maybe never coming back. Maybe they end up hating it so much that they end up hating the country, they hating the people, and that sucks. That really is awful, because this country is great. People are great, culture is awesome, the food is so good, but it can all just be like gone away in an instant because of the experience they had with the job that they got. And that's why I want people to make really informed decisions before they do this. So this video is, I guess, more geared to people who are coming to Korea for the first time. So those of you who've been watching for a while, again, maybe you guys are just curious about Korea in general. Maybe you're already somebody living here teaching English and you already know these things. But regardless of what it is, I think there are still things here that can help people make informed decisions. Now, again, whether you're someone who's been watching for a long time, or someone who's new, or maybe you're thinking about coming to Korea, or maybe you already are in Korea, I think there'll be a lot of things here that can benefit you in this video. Next time, I do want to talk about what things you should look out for, specifically people who are coming in the first time, what you should look out for when applying for jobs and things like that. But one thing you should know is that this is a very, I feel like, oversaturated market. Teaching English has become so big, but at the same time, there's a lot of academies that have closed. It's a very weird situation. There are so many academies everywhere, and yet at the same time, so many are closing because of it as well. It's a very weird moment, and it does suck, I think. And there's also more foreigners coming in, I believe, to do these kinds of jobs. So academy owners, I feel like they have all the power they need to hold over you with this E2 visa, with this new teaching situation. And as much as teaching English is a great stepping stone, if you plan on living in this country for a very long time, if you want to live here, you love it here, maybe you found someone you love, or friends that you want to be with for a very long time, you got to do something else. Teaching English, especially at an academy, I don't know what it's like at a university. I don't know what it's like at a public school. It could be a very different situation, but academies are no longer the route to stay in. Definitely getting the F2 visa is the #1 thing you should prioritize. whether you're here for a long time or you're coming in for the first time. Feel free to disagree. Maybe there's some people out there who have found an academy job that really love it. They think it's great. They think their job is awesome. They don't want to do anything else. You know, that's also fine. This could all just be just me rambling, but I truly feel like things have really changed, especially since from when I first arrived pre-Corona. A lot of things have happened. A lot of things before Corona, during Corona, and after, I think have really affected the way that teaching and academies has gone about. So this is a much needed continuation of the very, very, very old video I did a long time ago. And I will be doing another video, whether it's next week or in the next 2 weeks, explaining much more in detail, because again, I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to just ramble and rant for you guys. I want to be able to kind of break it up and specifically gear these kind of videos for people who are actually curious about teaching English Korea or wanting to know more about Korea in general, because it is part of the culture, it is part of what's going on. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope that there's a lot of things that you guys can learn from this video and these next couple of videos. Please feel free to leave comments down, and if you have anything that you need to ask, if there's anything you want to know about teaching or visa stuff, I'm here. You can message me anytime. I do have a Twitter, although I don't use it very often. You could tweet at me or X at me and all of that. I know there was a lot of stuff to leave you guys with to think about, but hopefully, like I said, this kind of stuff will help you guys make informed decisions. I hope the future videos will also keep helping you guys make more informed decisions, especially for me, because I'm actually going to be done teaching English pretty soon. I'm done. I think in March or end of March is going to be my last time teaching English and academy for a very long time. At the very least, I will be moving on to different things. I'll still be recording videos. Don't worry, I'll still be here. But I'm done. I'm officially done. I'm putting my hat in, and I'm not doing that kind of stuff anymore. So I'm very looking forward to a positive future where, you know, I don't have to be doing that anymore. And again, to each their own. Whether you guys like the job, great. If you don't like the job, come join me in the future. Come join me in the happiness that is not teaching English and academy anymore. I'll see you guys next week. Again, if you guys have any questions, like and subscribe. There will be more of this kind of content in the future. I want to help you guys survive this kind of weird situation that I think a lot of people are in. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.